Hi, this is Tammy, and I want to let you know that I'm going to be teaching a free masterclass on the 26th and 28th of August. In this class, I'm going to teach 3 steps to greater visibility at work. I'll be teaching 3 different concepts with practical steps that you can take immediately. These steps will signal to your leadership that you are ready to take on more senior roles in your organization. If you've been rocking it behind the scenes, taking care of business, but some days you feel downright invisible, or maybe everybody knows that you're the office go-to, but you still feel overlooked for promotions. Maybe you feel stuck on the sidelines, even though you're the one getting everything done, while the people you support get all the glory. If you've been hesitating to take on bigger challenges, even though you know you're a total rock star deep down. Or if you've been catching yourself playing the comparison game, looking at the other people who are succeeding while you wonder what's wrong with you. We've all been there. Or maybe you're just trying to keep everybody happy, and at the end of the day, you go home miserable. In this free 60-minute workshop, that's where it all ends. No more lurking in the shadows. This class will get you started thinking about all that's possible for you. The link is in the show notes, so register today. After all, you know that you've been ready to rise to more senior leadership, and you've known it for a long, long time. So decide that today is the day that everything changes. And I'll see you there. Again, the link is down in the show notes. Are you tired of feeling overlooked and underestimated? Hi, I'm Tammy North, the Introverted Executives Coach. If you're an introverted executive or you're ready to rise to senior leadership, but you're struggling to be seen as a high potential, this podcast is for you. I've got a very special topic for you today, one that's close to my heart: crafting your unique career narrative. This is the power of owning and sharing your own professional journey. I deeply believe that understanding and embracing your unique journey can be a catalyst for phenomenal growth in your career. You have your own unique journey. It's been filled with your own challenges that you've overcome, successes that you have brought to life, and lessons that you have learned along the way, and oh, so many adventures. You have strong passions and beliefs. You have your own powerful why. That's something that's just at the heart of everything you do. And when you are crystal clear about what you believe in and who you are, not to mention that who you are is who you want to be, it brings your future path and all the possibilities that your life has to offer into crystal clear focus. And if you're like me, when you get the opportunity to work on a project that is 100% aligned with your desired career narrative, well, it's like putting gasoline on a motivational fire. I could literally work nonstop on those kind of efforts. They seem to recharge my energy like a Tesla battery. I have a feeling you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the real magic happens when you begin to recognize the value of your own journey, when you fully embrace it as a mix of all that is wonderfully you, and when you're able to confidently share it in various ways. It will help others to see who you are and all that you're capable of, not to mention that you'll be able to help other people find their way because you're willing to share your own path. You know I come from the land of abundance, and I believe that there is enough success for everyone. You just have to be willing to move toward your version of success. And as your executive coach, that's exactly what I'm here to help you do. So let me tell you a little bit about how my own personal career narrative came to be. I first realized that I actually did have my own personal brand, and that I wanted to have this personal brand about 15 or a little more than that years ago. And when I came to that conclusion, I realized that I wanted to lean fully into that brand. Back then, I guess this was probably around 2007 or 2008, kind of in that period of time, I was a project manager and I was really into it. I loved everything about project management. I really loved setting the vision, understanding the goal that we were all working together to try to achieve. I loved working with various stakeholders and all the different resources, the engineers, the testing community, our customers, all of that, and making sure that we were really meeting the needs of our customer. And for my situation, the customer were the sailors and the officers on the ships. So I have a very strong passion for that customer. And so the ability that I had to bring many stakeholders together and to work toward a common goal, it was just very gratifying. So at that time, I even started a project management blog, and I really got into just helping other people become better project managers. But then I realized that that wasn't my only passion. it was back to that sailor and the officers on the ships where I really felt that strong pull. So it wasn't only the project management side, it really was about our customer. And then given my entire background, all the way back to 1990, that I had this strong technical knowledge, and a very systems-driven focus. I always had something new to learn, which is one of my strongest passions. And it was around that time that I started to realize that it wasn't just the project management, it wasn't just the customer, and it wasn't just the technical aspects. It was all of it mixed together. A few years later, probably around 2015 or 2016, I had the opportunity to attend a 10-week program management executive level course where I did receive my very first executive coach. And I'm the kind of person who had a strong vision of where I was going already. So when I had the opportunity to have an executive coach, I utilized that resource to the fullest. I learned everything I could. I took the feedback. I think that was around the first time I ever heard the phrase, when somebody gives you feedback, the correct response is thank you. You don't have to be defensive. You don't have to be any of these things. You just say thank you. Thank you for the feedback. And then you take on board what you think that you should take on board from that. So I had a very big up-leveling in that period of time where I learned so much just about my own self and was able and willing to incorporate all of that into my future self. That's where executive coaches, I think, really come in as a powerful resource. And then if you've been listening to this podcast since the beginning, I know various times I've talked about when I was young, how I wanted to be a country singer. And I do love country music, but it's really some of those powerful women in country like Reba McEntire or Dolly Parton or Loretta Lynn, Barbara Mandrell back in the 70s. Some of those people that just really speak to me. And so I always thought to myself, if Reba McEntire was a program manager, how would she be? What would she do? So she became kind of one of my role models. And I do have a lot of auburn colored hair as well. And that's not necessarily because of Reba, it's just who I am. But I do relate with Reba McEntire in that sense. So even kind of the look that I've taken on over the years kind of goes into my personal brand. And people usually recognize me from a long way away. And I'm okay with that. It's part of who I am. But there came a point that I realized it didn't matter if I was working at the systems command or if I was working at one of the type commanders or if I was working at any large organization. Over the past, let's say 15 or so years, I have worked at 3 or 4 major organizations and found ways to succeed at all of them. But what I realized is eventually, somewhere in the midst of all that changing, that I wasn't focused on any one organization and I wasn't focused on any one position anymore. I had evolved beyond that, where what I cared about was making this larger difference, this greater purpose. And once that really clicked in my brain, it no longer matters at all where I'm working. My industry could put me anywhere they wanted to put me, in any organization. They could literally put me at any position, and I would use my passion for our customer to the fullest degree, and I would lean fully into whichever position I was in. So now I say, I'm Tammy. I'm just Tammy. This is who I am. And no matter what title I have, I will use my own unique skills to make the impact that I have been inspired to create in the world. And one of the pieces of clarity that this aha moment brought to me is that I will no longer accept a job or position or stay in a job or position that is not aligned with my passion or purpose. Due to the clarity that I have about who I am and who I want to be, I've created the exact career both in my full-time position and in my executive coaching business. And I wake up every day and I can't believe the opportunities that I have cultivated in my own life that allow me to make such a broad impact, one that truly could and likely will impact the entire world. And that is what I believe. And that's what wakes me up every morning and keeps me going. So what kind of impact would you love to have in the world? Can you imagine that reality? The reality that you've been dreaming of somewhere in the back of your mind? And if there's any part of you that thinks maybe you actually could have that impact, then that is my personal number one mission to make it as true for you as it has become for me. Let me believe for you. It is possible. Now we just have to make sure that you believe. So let's start off with the reason that you'd want to craft your own unique career narrative. For one thing, it will establish your own personal brand. This is your narrative, your journey. This narrative will tell the world who you are, what you've been through, and what you stand for. A personal brand is essentially the perception or image of an individual based on their experiences, expertise, actions, values, and their overall personal and professional story. It's how others will see you. It's how others understand you. And this could be both professionally and personally. But just think about this, just as businesses craft brands to represent their products like Apple or Coke or Nike, you as an individual human in the world can craft a personal brand that represents you. The reason that this will help is your narrative is unique to you. Nobody else has experienced the exact same combination of events, emotions, challenges, or triumphs that you have. Sharing this narrative in an authentic manner forms the foundation of a genuine personal brand. And your narrative will also provide a consistent thread to your identity. Whether it's about challenges that you've come through or some innovative way that you solved a problem or your passion for a particular cause, your narrative will offer consistency in managing how others perceive you. In a world filled with professionals, what makes you stand out? Think about if you just get in your mind a bunch of business people, businessmen and women standing around in a group. What do you think about when you think about that? Sometimes I picture those stock images where there's just a bunch of people in suits staring out glass windows, or maybe there's a mirrored building behind them. What would make you stand out of that group? It's your narrative that makes you stand out. And your narrative, yes, we're going to talk about writing it down, but once you have it clear, it's just the fact that you know what it is that will start to make you stand out in ways that nobody else had ever imagined. When you share your unique experiences and perspectives, you will automatically begin to differentiate yourself from other people in your field. What's your value proposition? Your narrative will highlight the value that you bring to the table. For instance, somebody who's transitioned between a diverse role or two different types of industries might bring some really cool cross-functional knowledge. And somebody who's faced significant challenges professionally or personally might bring some unparalleled problem-solving skills. And just a human fact of the world, and this has been true through all history, is that people resonate with stories. And by sharing your personal and professional journeys, including both your highs and lows, your challenges and your wins, you will create an emotional connection with your audience. It makes you more real. It makes you more human. It just makes you more memorable and relatable. So as you start to consider crafting your personal brand, which is going to be part of your narrative, there's some key elements I want you to consider. One is clarity. Just being clear about who you are and what you stand for, your values, your beliefs, what you really love, maybe something about your hobbies or other things you really care about, any experiences that you really want to share that have made you who you are. Those all should be evident through your narrative. And it's not just enough to have a personal brand, but it needs to be seen. Make it part of who you are. Share your story at job interviews, in an appropriate way, but write professional articles on platforms like LinkedIn. Share your knowledge with people where others with your similar passions reside, like medium.com or a personal blog, maybe a podcast like what I'm doing here, or maybe some other public speaking engagements. You could also do this in shorter communications like email, Slack, or some other internal organization communications that you have available to you. Share your knowledge, help other people, and connect people that might drive collaborative progress towards something you really want to change or impact in the world. Then make sure you're always engaging with other people, join in discussions, join groups, join masterminds, and be open to feedback. This not only will strengthen your brand, but it also makes it dynamic and evolving. And once I knew, 15 years ago or so that I actually had a brand, trust me, it has evolved quite a lot since then. And so just as you grow and change, so should your personal brand. So regularly reflect upon and update your narrative to ensure that it's relevant and reflective of who you are now and who you still yet want to become in the future. Your career narrative, when it's infused with authenticity and purpose, will tell the world not only who you are, but what they can expect when they engage with you. And it will definitely repel people who are not for you. There will be people who don't like it. There'll be people who don't like you, but the people who understand you, the people who resonate with you, they will be very clear that you are their kind of person. And it's like a beacon. It's like a bat signal for other people who want to work with you to help you solve those really hard problems. Yeah, like I said, not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay. And this type of career narrative will create opportunities for you. Once people understand your journey, they're more likely to see where you could fit into the bigger picture of their projects and their organizations. I have some examples in my life of people that definitely do know who they are in the world. And when they come to me and ask me if I know of opportunities for them because they're so clear on their own journey and they can explain it to me so well, I can say, oh, I know exactly where you would fit. Why don't you connect with this person or that person? And I'm sure that they might be able to provide you with an opportunity. And it gives me a very easy way to explain to one of my colleagues in a different organization, oh, there's this person, they're looking for an opportunity, and here is why you want them on your team. And it makes it easier for me to sell them to another organization because they're so clear about themselves. So for the activity this week, yes, I do want you to start working on your own career narrative. First, I want you to do a deep dive reflection of your past and start, making a list of all your significant moments, your challenges, your turning points, your achievements. And remember, no detail is too small. If it made a difference in some way, take a moment and write it down. And start to look for patterns in your journey. Identify core themes that seem to pop up over and over. Maybe resilience, innovation, leadership. For some reason, I'm a person who loves to lead change. I love change management. I love taking something that's kind of been a mess and fixing it. Those are the kind of things where I really love digging in. And I'm the kind of person that, because I have that vision that I can see all the possibilities, even if something's a big mess right now, I am highly motivated to dig into those sorts of situations because I love to see the transformation. As part of your career narrative, make sure that you clearly define what your value proposition is. What do you bring to the table? What are your skills, your interests? What's the impact you're capable of making in the world? And then craft your story. Start weaving your experiences around these themes. Create a compelling narrative. Make a story with a beginning, a middle, and then how you got to be where you are now. And then add on to that, where do you want to go in the future, 5, 10, or 15 years from now? And then once you kind of have this part crafted out from the past, your themes, your value proposition, and then your future plans, share it with some close friends or mentors and see what they think. Do they have some insights that might, help you refine your story a little bit? And then just continue to adjust and update this as you grow and change across time. Once you have your unique career narrative written, how are you going to use it out in the world? Well, once you have taken the time to write it down and even refine it, it will start to become clear in your mind. It'll become very easy for you to talk about. So when you're out networking in any form or fashion, maybe you're at a conference, just a little coffee chat, maybe a mastermind or a meetup, when you start engaging with people and they ask you questions about where you are and where you're going or how you got here, it is going to be very easy for you to come up with things to talk about. And then in a job interview, your narrative will actually set you apart from other candidates because it'll showcase not only your skills, but your journey and your growth, and also your clear understanding of the path that you hope to go on in the future. My husband to this day right now is still an active duty naval officer, and part of what he does is he'll sit on boards for people who are enlisted and are interested in becoming an officer. And part of one of the most obvious questions that those people will get asked at their board is, why do you want to be an officer? And my husband said that it's very clear that people have or have not thought about this question ahead of time. And even though it seems to be one of the most obvious questions that would be asked, some people literally don't have a good response at all. Some of the people say, well, I looked at the pay chart and the pay is better. But that's not going to be a reason that is going to keep you sustained when you're leading large divisions of enlisted people and maybe you are literally heading to war. Just because you get an extra $1,000 a month or something isn't the reason. So what is your actual reason? And when you're at a job interview, these kind of questions will pop up like, why are you interested in this position? And it's not just because it's better pay. That's not going to be the answer. So you need to come up with how those kind of positions align to your larger narrative and where you are going in your future and why you think your value proposition is the thing that this company needs that is going to transform the company as well as yourself. So when you can really bring those two things together, you're going to have a much more compelling answer in a job interview, for instance. And then when you're guiding others and you are sharing your journey, you're going to be able to provide the real world context to help other people understand. So like when you're mentoring somebody, you'll be able to share your story in a way that makes them go, oh, I totally understand that. And I want to do that too. And having your very clear career narrative will actually make your advice much more relatable. And then as you grow in your career, it's very likely that you will be asked to do public speaking events or to write for industry journals or other things. And you can use your own narrative to connect with your audience, whether you're giving a talk or writing an article or being interviewed for something. Your own career narrative will help as you have it intertwined through all of these types of events as well. So your career narrative is a dynamic tool that will evolve as you do. It's not just a story that you write down one time, but it's a reflection of your entire journey, your values, and your vision. So use it to guide your decisions, use it to connect with other people, and use it to advance your own career. Remember, it is uniquely yours. So own it, cherish it, and share it. You can connect with me at Introverted Executive on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you're ready for executive coaching to help you achieve your biggest career goals, subscribe to my weekly Rise and Shine newsletter. There, you'll find out when my program opens for new clients, and you'll also receive weekly tips and activities to continue to make a bigger impact in your own powerful way. You'll find all the information and links down in the show notes. See you next week.